I know as a pastor that congregations hang on to every word that we speak. And so a couple of years ago, Pastor Bob spoke to you about holy currencies. And I know you remember every word that Bob passed along, that wisdom that Bob passed along to you. But just in case you're new here and weren't here for that, I'll share with you that the concept of holy currencies is the idea that the true nature of a currency is a current. It needs to flow. So we talk about it as a measure of money, but the true origins of that word are that it flows. And if it's stagnant and doesn't flow, just like water, it becomes brackish. The holy currencies, the six of them are time and place, relationships, wellness, gracious leadership, money, it's just one of them, and truth. And our church, and Judy will share this with you in a little bit, we have a navigation team that is helping us to keep our focus on having those holy currencies flow, and that is why we're here, and in particular because we want to engage in the holy currency of truth. Most of us came because we know that Hawaii is a fabulous place to visit, and we also know that there's a tragic history and an unjust history here that we are better to know about than to ignore. And since we're all created in the image of God, it is so important for us to know times and places where the image of God has been ignored or effaced by maybe a colonizing influence and things like that. So I wanted to mention that there's two things to know about the holy currency of truth. First of all, the word in Hebrew for truth is emet, and it includes the first, the middle, and the last letters of the Hebrew alphabet, which indicates that for us to know the truth, we need to know the beginning, the middle, and the end in order to be fully informed. Another element of truth, it comes from a Chinese symbol. The word for truthful or genuine comes from a Chinese symbol, Shen. And that symbol is composed of a cross at the top. It looks like a cross. It's not a cross, but that's what it looks like to us. And then two columns of about 3 grid lines, which means I, so the cross, then that, and then a table. And the cross, by the way, means 10. So we've got 10 eyes on the table. And so Eric Law's concept is that we can't know the whole truth without sitting at a table with 10 other people, or 9 other people who have their eyes also in the conversation and in the witness. So what we want to do, for you this morning is just share with you some of the things that we're doing in our community to engage in truthful witness and engagement. And so we'll start with Jacques. Jacques Charles, as you heard, has been attending the church for 14 years. And he's going to share with you one of the ministries that we've been engaged in for a long, long time.
Good morning. Like Pastor Rob mentioned, one of the ministries I'm in charge of is every January we have the Martin Luther King March on downtown Santa Barbara. Our main street shopping area is called State Street. And so every year we have a march where they close the street down. And then after the march is over, the people they go to this theater called the Arlington Theater, where they have like poetry contests from local high school kids. They have performances and readings and other things like that. And once that's done, then the people from the theater, they come to our church, First United Methodist Church, Santa Barbara, and then we have this big room where we host a free community lunch for all the people who been from the march to the events at the Arlington Theater. And I'm in charge of that event every year, and with my another person, Arnell Stewart, she's not here today, but me and Arnell, we're usually in charge of the luncheon. And yearly, we usually get about maybe a good, we have more people attending the march and the events, but for the luncheon, we usually get about maybe 100, 150 people come in for the free lunch afterwards. So we get a lot of volunteer church people to help set up the table, the chairs, and we get some volunteers from the church to prepare to do the cutting of cucumbers, and for salads we have, so we basically do that every year, and we always end up being a good turnout. And I think it's really important for me because I took over that position because I think Martin Luther King Jr. is him as being a civil rights activist, and also with his teaching, which he learned from Muhammad Gandhi, of teaching nonviolence to get his message approach to society. I think that was very impactful in what he did in terms of civil rights movement in the United States. So we definitely want to continue to get his message across every year, and then so that he can continue to keep on going.
Thank you. Thanks, Jacques. So Martin Luther King, that's an annual event that's been going on a long time in Santa Barbara, and we've been engaged from the beginning. The church has been engaged from the beginning. Sergel, who you heard has been at the church the longest, 40 years, is going to share with us another ministry or two that we're engaged in.
There is the launching of the meal train, where the families that struggle from illness or loss, so they were helped with dinner preparation or just give them food for their visitors that go to their places. There's also this warming center that is usually done in December or January or February during the cold months, and it is offered to the people who don't have homes, and warm food and warm bed is shared for them.
So the members of the church come and prepare the meal and get the space ready, and we host people out of the rain and out of the cold. Correct? Correct. Okay, I'm gonna, as I'm passing this over to Dan, I'm gonna mention that one of the most recent things that we did is there's an organization in our community called LEAP, and LEAP is really about engaging families with very young children who lack resources. And so we did a diaper drive for LEAP. And at the end, the community director of that organization came to speak to us about how important that was, because they give away 5,000 diapers every month. And our church provided 5,750 diapers for that ministry, which was really thrilling to her to have a whole month taken care of. So Dan has been here about a year and a half. Dan and Brittany go together, and so Dan, would you share?
Hello, everyone. I wanted to share one of the main reasons I joined this church, and that is the practice of an open table, and the idea that absolutely everyone is welcome, regardless of nationality, ideology, faith, sexual orientation, nationality, legal status, right? Everyone is welcome. And as someone who was an atheist their entire life, right, this is something that's really, really important to me, and this really brought me into this community. praise upon all the things that our church is doing, and I can tell it's the same thing here as well. But it's the practice that the open table is not just like welcoming to it, but also instilling a deep sense of belonging. So not only are they welcoming people, but they're finding ways for those people to find community within each other. And our ministries continuously do those things. And I'll speak briefly to one of the ministries that started kind of like the same time that we joined. Was brought by another member of our congregation who, like many of us, are super affected by the political divisiveness that is raging through our country right now. And she wanted to move past thoughts and prayers to actions and prayers, and that's the name of our group. And it started as a kind of like a small group for people in their 20s and 30s to come together and actually talk about what is happening around us, what is going through it, and really focus on the action part of things and share that community and build around that community. And it's been really, really amazing. And it is thanks to those actions and motivations that we have found really strong purpose in our community, and we're especially helping those that are mostly being affected in where we live right now, which Brittany will say a lot more about soon.
Thank you. Thanks, Dan. That's great.
Hi guys, my name is Brittany, and I wanted to talk about a ministry that's fairly new. It only started in like January, fully got off the ground this year. Santa Barbara as a community is about 38% Latino, and as a consequence of that, ICE is a major presence in our community. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the people who have been taken, which makes me really sad. So in the 805, which is like the area code in general where we live, 2,388 people have been kidnapped. And then in Santa Barbara itself, 117 people have been kidnapped. As you can tell, it affects me a lot. No, I'm not going to do this. Okay. And so part of what we do with our church, along with several other organizations, is we run a food bank for families who have had someone kidnapped. So we have 44 families that we support, that we collect food, and then we deliver food twice a month to those families. A lot of times when someone has been kidnapped, there's often another undocumented person in their home, so these families fear going to traditional food banks and sources for outreach, and then often the person who was kidnapped was the income maker for the family, so they have now lost their source of income. So we work with our church to raise money and gather culturally sensitive food, so it's not just like people's, we all have that can of corn in the back of the fridge that's been sitting there. We make sure that it's culturally sensitive food. And then along with that, several members of our congregation actively patrol and rapid respond for ICE. So what that means is people like Dan and I get up at 4:30 in the morning and we drive around our communities, generally in areas where we know ICE is active. There's certain communities that have higher percentage of Latino populations than others. And we basically just look to see if ICE is there, and then hopefully warn our community. And if we witness a kidnapping, we can then document it so that their families can know that their loved one was taken. Because as I'm sure you've heard in the news, a lot of times once people are kidnapped, they go into a black hole, and families can't get in touch with them. So part of our job is making sure that we acknowledge everyone who's taken and also give them resources. We work with another organization that connects families with lawyers, financial aid for rent, and things like that. So if you guys want to talk to either one of us after, we would love to help. I'm going to plug, we also have a QR code for our food pantry. So if you feel drawn to help us support these families, I would appreciate anything you can give.
I want to add it, and thank you. I want to say two things. I hope this is okay. So our church, right, is a reconciling church. And Dan and Brittany joined the church, and Brittany worked at a Christian school. And when they discovered that she had joined the United Methodist Church of Santa Barbara, they did not offer her a renewal contract. And so here is somebody who's acting faithfully and encountering consequences from acting faithfully with regards to her belief in inclusion, and we appreciate that. The second thing that I want to add is that over Christmas, we did what was called a Christmas miracle offering to support a variety of immigrant ministries, because that's where the pain is in our community. And the church, we have about 130 in worship every Sunday, and our church raised $20,000 in December to support the ministries like the Immigrant Legal Defense Fund, Grupo Esperanza, Casa de la Raza, and some other organizations that are really trying to serve human need. And I want to remind us of that. We look for people's humanity, not their ideology, not whatever drives them to be in our country, but rather they're human beings, and everybody deserves to be treated as a child of God. And so that's what we do. Judy Linares is going to share. She is the chair of what's called our navigation team, and so she's going to share. But I want to actually commend Judy and Umberto. This is why we have these four youth. Andres is with us. That's their son. But Kimberly, Melina, and Anthony are here because the Linareses made sure to invite them along. So.
Good morning. So as Pastor Rob mentioned, I'm part of the church's navigation team, and as part of that, we take suggestions and ideas for ministries that our congregation feels that are unmet needs in our community. And so I was just going to share a couple of examples of that. One being we partner with the American Red Cross to do an annual blood drive. We host that at our congregation, and anyone that wants to sign up from our church or from the local community comes in and donates blood. The second, we also partner with a local nonprofit in our community. They're called Adam's Angels, and they work. One of our great needs in Santa Barbara is unhoused, our unhoused population. So they utilize our kitchen to make meals for and specifically like sack lunches, and so they assemble them at our facility and distribute them out to the local unhoused population.
I'll add that Adam's Angels last year, and this is not, we're just partnering in ministry. We're also trying to find places that we can partner for ministries that we feel called to do. And Adam's Angels hosts a Thanksgiving meal, and last year it was something like 550 meals were served. And if you ever want to come and help at Adam's Angels, you will then have the opportunity to find out what celebrities in our community support that ministry, because people like Kenny Loggins or I can't remember the main singer from Supertramp, or all of these, they show up there to assist. And so it's a really beautiful opportunity for people in our community who are actually well known to come out and help serve the homeless population of our community. Obviously, like here, we have a pretty temperate climate, and so being homeless it's a better place to be than, say, Alaska. So with that, I just want to, we have several other ministries that we do. We're just really deeply involved, and our congregation is it's just amazing. And I will just add that one of the things I was thrilled about when I came to the church is that it is fully inclusive. And one of the things that impressed my wife and I on our first Sunday in the church, right, when you welcome to the new minister, is that an obviously gay man came into the sanctuary who'd never been there before. The congregation swarmed him and ignored us. And we thought, this is the right church. They have the right priorities. So that's our witness to what we're doing in our community. And as Brittany said, you're welcome to talk to us a little bit more about what we do during this. But this is why we came, as we wanted to know more about what the reality is of Hawaii, not just the glamour of Waikiki, but really the trauma of what the indigenous community has felt, and to be more aware of that, and so that we can take that back and share it with our community. So with that, I think we're done, and we'll head out. Thank you.
What a tremendous testimony and witness, and then maybe it'll spark some ideas for us. When I first learned about it, there are like certain ministry I had never heard of, and so it's very inspiring, and hopefully I'm just proud of our church that we could host them and extend our hospitality, our brand of aloha to them, so we can be proud of our openness in our church and the generosity that flows through us as well.